Tropical Tim in the Philippines here. Thank you for your patience. For those that follow me and enjoy our channel, we've taken some time off, obviously, but life goes on, so we're prepared, Ray and I, to move forward now. Our Kuya, Ray's brother, unfortunately he did not make it. He has since moved on to a better place. We have him with us right here on his urn. We did have him cremated, as was his wish and desire. Now, my brother-in-law, or affectionately known as, my Kuya, that's how it works here in the Philippines. You refer to elder siblings or sibling-in-laws as your Kuya or ate for a female. Briefly, this video, first of all, is just kind of a last tribute to him. Not that it means much to all you folks out there in YouTube. Ray and I absolutely appreciate and adore all the prayers and well-wishers that have sent their condolences and that. That's not what this video is for. We're not seeking that. There's a little training that's going to go along with this video, a kind of a beware scenario for some of you folks that are planning to relocate and live here in the future, if you're not already. So, first of all, my brother-in-law was a good guy, real good guy, very low-key, very quiet, strong individual. Again, I'm 5'10", and he's probably about 7.5, 5'8". Decent size, not huge by our standards for a Filipino, but big hands and a hard worker his whole life. Not educated at all. He was forced as a young child to abandon school, and life began for him at an early age. So the onslaught of his multiple illnesses really caught us by surprise, because he would go to regular routine doctor checkups, doctor visits, and there weren't any indicators that something was about to happen. He had some medications, but he was still living large as far as he could. Now, he was only 66. His birthday is this coming May 9th, which happens to be National Election Day here also, so he just missed his 67th birthday. But just a whole onslaught of various illnesses really crept in and hit him at one time, and it got so out of control, and his official cause of death is three things: respiratory failure, his diabetes, and things like that. And again, when we started to, and of course I'm sitting here in his apartment, the one that we designed and built for him. Many of you have followed my series on modifying and rebuilding our Nipa hut. This is part of it, building him his own custom style apartment, which is very nice, and he was very happy with it. And he was so gun-ho about it. So he didn't get to enjoy it a whole lot. He saw it when we moved him in here, and he was still alert and level-headed and keen that he really liked it a lot, and he was looking forward to being right here. And of course, he'd still be eating with us, upstairs or whatever. He just didn't get to enjoy a whole bunch of that. So, the biggest problem for me through all this, of course, was being the shoulder of support for my wife, Ray, because she's very close to Kuya Bong. He really looked after her and raised her when their mom had to go to work. And so Kuya Bong really had a lot to do with caring for Ray when she was an infant, a baby, toddler, whatever. So she was very close to him, and that is her only brother. So actually she has another stepbrother, but they're not close, and I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not going to go into all that. So, we put him, admitted him into a real hospital, not where most poor Filipinos, and Kuya was poor for the most part. We've always taken care of him in one form or another, even when we were still working and living back in the States. So he always had enough from us anyway to sustain himself. But we put him in a regular hospital, not the public hospitals that most Filipinos go to when they're severely ill or they're going to die or pass, what have you. So we paid for him to be in a real hospital. He was in isolation. They first had to check him for COVID, so they wasted a couple, 3 days doing that. Why, I don't know. Then they took him out of that, and in his own private room, we paid for his own private room, and they put him on, they were doing all kinds of tests, but they just couldn't get their arms around what was going on, so they put him on artificial ventilation. And that entails tubes going down, you know, a breathing mask, oxygen, and forced oxygen down into his lungs. One of his lungs had collapsed. So now he's deteriorating and going downhill really fast. Well, we got to the point where they had determined, the hospital, that his body was pretty much gone. There was nothing much more they could do. So it came down to, if they removed the artificial breathing apparatus, the tubes down his lungs, that he would probably expire. He would die. So at first they told us we would be making a decision, actually not me, Ray, would be making a decision as to how we wanted to proceed. Keep him alive on artificial, on a machine, or, as they say, pull the plug, so to speak. That's a tough decision. That's a real tough decision. I haven't had to make that decision. I don't want to make that decision. But somebody has to. So they're charging $300 a day. Now, this is not about money, trust me, for him to stay in that room. And that doesn't count any additional prescriptions, any additional whatever, doctor's fees, none of that. That's just to be in that room on that ventilator. So the decision was made to relieve him of his burden, talking about Kuya, and to take him off of the machine, artificial ventilation. We just thought that's not going to be a good quality of life. He could last 6 months, a year, and sit in that room, and for what? And then, of course, you're going to pay all that money every day. And again, it has nothing to do with money. It's about his quality of life and his soul and his well-being. So Ray made the decision after consulting with I don't know how many people, crying all the time, trying to get her to calm down, level-headed, and she did. She made a rational decision to go that way and to take him off the machine. Well, now the hospital staff tells us, well, they can't do that because his heart, which is beating, is his own. It's not his heart isn't beating artificially, it's beating on its own. So they, by law, couldn't remove the artificial ventilation. Okay, what are we going to do? They said, well, you can pay and we'll have an ambulance to take him back home to his home, your house, whatever. And from there, once we get him in your house, we can remove the artificial ventilation. What? Did you just hear yourself? I'm asking them. I'm standing in the hallway outside of Kuya's room asking them, did you just hear what you said? You're saying that if that's removed, he's going to die. You won't do it here, and you have the facilities here. You have the morgue downstairs, all that stuff. We're not qualified to, how are we going to care for him outside of what we had been doing prior to admitting him to the hospital, his health, comfort, and well-being. So you're telling us to end this, human type way, humane type way. You want us to transport him back to our house, remove the ventilator, let him die, and then call you back so you can pick him up, take him back to the hospital, do an autopsy, so you can issue a certificate of death. Are you listening to what you're saying? So we were infuriated with that. We were absolutely livid. So that whole day, the whole last 24 hours-ish, we were really bummed out and stressed, really stressed, because what are we supposed to do? It's a terrible decision. We lose either way. We're trying to do the right thing, the humane thing, while he's there in the hospital's care, but they're saying they won't do that, but they want us to bring him home, yank that breathing tube out of him, so we can kill him, or he can die here, just to go back to the hospital and go through all that. None of it made sense. It really didn't make sense. Nobody could explain that to me. We ended up avoiding all that because in the end, several hours later, his heart actually gave out. So I think God stepped in and helped us out, definitely helped Kuya out, and took the hospital off the hook for their ignorant offer suggestions about what we could do to take care of this. And none of that made sense. Why are we going to drag him in his condition back here? I mean, he's gone. For all intents and purposes, he's gone. He's being kept alive by artificial respiration, breathing. But they want us to bring him here to pull the plug here in his room. That's so stupid. And I'm so angry about it. And I'm calm now, but it made absolutely no sense. And I'm sure you'll agree with me. I don't want to hear about laws or whatever. First you're telling us we can do that there at the hospital. Then you turn around when we make the decision and tell us that we can't, to bring them home and pull the plug here. No logic to that, none whatsoever. But again, I think His Holiness intervened and just took care of everything. So, that was that. Within 48 hours, we had him cremated. And again, now he's got a place with us permanently. I can show you this if this isn't too dramatic for you. Very nice urn. Okay, so for his 8 or 9 days in the hospital and everything that took place, we paid about 250,000 pesos. Okay, and then of course they wouldn't release him to us so we could get on with the cremation and the final steps until the bill was paid. And it took a whole day just to pay the bill. A whole day. Ray had to go here, get this form, fill it out, take it over there. They would stamp it, then she'd have to go upstairs, and it's just one big, everywhere. Okay, so, and the cremation here costed just under $1,000, and that's with this beautiful urn here. So he's got his resting place right here in his apartment. And I tell you these monetary figures just so you have an idea. And if you don't want to pay that, you better have insurance. And most Filipinos don't, especially poor ones. They have none. That's why they go to a public dormitory hospital where there's just a gazillion beds and, you know, process out that way. But you should probably have a will and have it decided how you want people to proceed with you should you fall ill and take it to that level where you may expire. You need people to make decisions for you. But at least you know a little bit about what happened with our situation. I'm not sure that for a lot of the expats that come over here, if your girlfriend can make those decisions for you, pretty sure she cannot. Pretty sure it has to be a family member. So I would set something up. I would, a will of some sort, instructions on how you want people to proceed, your immediate family, and probably leave copies of that with somebody, your kinfolk or family member back in the U.S. You're going to have to think about doing something, or the same fate could befall you. I mean, if we're ready to expire and pass on, that's fine, but we can't stay there and lay in a cognitive mess. That's not going to work. It's not doing you no good. It's not doing the living any good. Be sure to have a plan in place. So my thumbnail, you can see that. I thought that was very interesting. That is actually a picture of the control panel of the cremation machine. They're placed on a conveyor and sent in. A big steel door opens. They go in, and there you go. I was actually going to put some of that on here, but I thought, no, you guys really don't need to see that. To me, it's still just part of living, part of life. It's an interesting view to see it, but I don't want to burden anybody with, I wouldn't call it graphic, but it could be a little disturbing or emotional for some of you. But anyway, so here's the finality of it. Kuya is with us. He always will be with us. What we're going to do with the apartment, not sure. There's no hurry. Ray hasn't even gone in and processed his personal effects. I'm sure she'll probably do something like what he would have wanted, give his clothes to somebody that could use them, and things like that. So we're not quite out of the woods, but she's much better. She's calm now. She understands. It was very tough for her, leading up in the last 72 hours leading up to his passing. But anyway, here we are, but we're going to get back into life. He would want us to do that, of course. Anybody would want that. And I just wanted to share with you now, I did post something on my community page telling all you folks that we would be out of action on YouTube for a little while. Just give us a little time. Not that we're the greatest view or greatest channel out there, but just so you understood our brief absence. But now that things have finally started to kind of calm down a little bit, we'll get back into the swing of things and enjoy life and enjoy visiting with all of you. And again, we appreciate everything, the reaching out, everybody in their prayers and things like that. So we're fine. We're doing great. We're getting ready to celebrate our 40th wedding anniversary coming May 5th. So we're kind of excited about that. So we just took a time out on our rebuild on our house and things like that, because family comes first, of course. It's a life event, so you have to handle it the best you can, and hopefully in the eyes of most, and especially God, that we did the best we could. So with that, I'd like to say thank you so much for visiting, and hope to see you around real soon in YouTube community. I'll be back starting to watch your videos again. Of course I had to take some time out. I can't YouTube while I'm trying to console my wife and be the pillar of understanding and strength for her during this difficult time. So, but everything's good. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you so much, and see you around. Peace out.